Welcome back, True Seekers. Hello to the people in the chats. The big headline tonight on CNN's front page, besides the World Series, is that tomorrow, well, if you're on the East Coast, it's already tomorrow, on Wednesday, October 30th, the Democrats are going to bring the impeachment inquiry out of the closet. And the drama of the political theater will be on the same day of Game 7 of the World Series. And of course, if you're just tuning in, you've missed how we called a Nationals-Astros World Series based on the connections to the death of George Herbert Walker Bush and the shooting hoax of Steve Scalise. All of these things are scripted events that are interconnected, a web. And again, if you doubt that, well, I know you're not signed up on my Patreon page and you're not the people that hit 17-1 on the Astros-Nationals World Series before the postseason began. But what I've been proving for years, and sadly a lot of that proof has been washed down the internet toilet thanks to Google's censorship, but what I've been doing for years is showing how sports and politics and news is all interconnected and perfectly planned and coordinated, and it truly is mind-blowing when you recognize the things that are being done. So, again, just to give you the short gist of things, Steve Scalise, if you go back to the day that he was shot, which was on Trump's birthday, supposedly, he wasn't really shot, it's a hoax. But the date of the shooting was June 14th, 2017. That was a date with 57 numerology. World Series in Gematria equals 57. So does Scottish Rite. So does George, as in George Washington, who was inaugurated at age 57. From tomorrow, Game 7 to George Washington's birthday, February 22nd, his upcoming birthday anniversary is 115 days. It's the 115th World Series. Steve Scalise was a member of the 115th Congress when he was shot. But anyway, the day Steve Scalise was shot, if you go back and look at the MLB box scores that day, and here, why not just do it? MLB box scores. June 14th, 2017, and this was the date of the Steve Scalise shooting, anyone can verify. This was Trump's 71st birthday. If you go back and look at the scores from this day, there's two scores that really stand out. So here's the scores for June 14th. Notice the Braves beat the Nationals 13-2, a crazy score. And notice that the Astros beat the Rangers 13-2. And all year, throughout the season, we documented these rituals with the death of George Herbert Walker Bush, a member of Skull and Bones. His family used to run the Rangers. They have connections to the Astros. And we kept seeing how these two teams were paying tribute to his death again and again. And then at the end of the year, the Nationals had a Skull and Bones ritual. Again, go back and watch my video on that. I put out the video before the game was played that day for the Nationals saying why they were going to pick up their 48th home win and how the game was a tribute to Prescott Bush stealing Geronimo's skull. The game was against the Cleveland Indians. I don't want to continue to re-explain everything because I've already put out all this information in several videos. But anyway, all of this stuff is scripted. From the date of the Steve Scalise shooting to the start of the World Series, it's all perfectly planned out. And now what gets tucked in is this impeachment thing. And look at this. Just look at this. We've been talking about this all series, all World Series. I thought the World Series would likely go to Game 7. I said if it didn't go to Game 7, it would probably go to Game 5. That was the game that Trump attended, Game 5. But all year we've thought the World Series would likely end in Game 7. It's now here. It's because the season began with a massive tribute to the number 62. Tomorrow, October 30th, leaves 62 days left in the year. But anyway, check this out. Donald Trump, from his birthday to Game 7 is 138 days. And realize this is also the day they're bringing the impeachment thing out of the closet. 138 days. That matters because Donald Trump equals 138, federal equals 138, nationals equals 138, the Nationals manager's Dave Martinez 138, the Nationals advanced to the 115th World Series by defeating St. Louis, who was in their 138th season. St. Louis is the only city that sums to 115. Today, the Nationals became 11-5 in this year's postseason. And something else we've been talking about is look at what's scheduled for Game 7 of the World Series. This is what's in the NBA tomorrow. Tomorrow's NBA game, the Houston Rockets versus the Washington, D.C. Wizards, just like how the World Series is Houston versus Washington, D.C. And if you pay attention, they do this in every sport, season after season, year after year, and it shows you just how scripted it all is. When was the NBA schedule released? A long time ago. Way before the postseason was set, way before the World Series was set. And just year after year, if you pay attention, you're like, man, they did it again. Man, they did it again. They scripted those sports games. It's just undeniable what they do. And, hold on, we got somebody calling in. What's up, man?
Hey, Zach. Hey, just want to let you know, John Witherspoon just died, man.
Who just died?
John Witherspoon, the guy from Friday, the father from Friday.
Oh, the actor.
Yeah, the comedian.
Hey, I know who he is. Yeah.
Just died today at 77 years old.
77, and that's the number that connects the two teams in the World Series. Houston's 77 and DC's 77.
Well, it couldn't get scripted any better, Zach.
I'll look into it. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, brother.
All right, Stu. Yeah, don't forget when the Nationals eliminated the Cardinals, they gave the Cardinals their 77th loss of the season on the day leaving 77 days left in the year. And, of course, Washington, D.C. is on the 77th meridian. Now, look at this. Impeachment equals 107, right? They're bringing the impeachment out of the closet the day of Game 7. Washington Nationals equals 107. And remember, the Astros this year finished the regular season with 107 wins, and then they meet the Nationals in the World Series. And if you were on Patreon, you made a killing this year off 107 rituals with the Washington Nationals. For any of you who want to go back and look, just go through the Nationals box scores this year and see how many pitchers became 10-7 after facing the Nationals. Where if like a pitcher came in 9-7 against the Nationals, well, you could chalk them up for a win that day because they were definitely becoming 10-7. If a pitcher came in 10-6, well, you could chalk that pitcher up for a definite loss because they were becoming 10-7. Just all season, Washington Nationals 107 nonstop. And check this out. The last time the World Series, the baseball championship, was in Washington, D.C., back when it was the Washington Senators, look at what date it ended. October 7th. 10-7, 107. And at the end of the year, the Nationals paid tribute to Senator Prescott Bush with the Skull and Bones Geronimo Skull ritual. It's amazing how they line it all up. It is amazing. And real quick, just to take a break from what we're talking about, I saw this in the news today and just had to laugh for a minute. New York's LaGuardia unveils new $3.9 billion terminal. What am I always teaching about New York and 39? New York equals 39, NY's 39, NYC's 39, Empire's 39. The United Nations there is 39 floors tall. They meet in that building the 39th week of each year, and just everything else. New York 39. It just makes you wonder, how much money did they steal here? My guess is it didn't really cost $3.9 billion. My guess is it costed X and then they stole the rest. Because that's what government is. It's about fleecing people, siphoning wealth up to the super rich. These fake price tags. And then what day do they reveal it? On October 29th? 10 plus 29, 39. Yeah. All right, back to the whole World Series thing. We were just talking about 10-7. Guess what the Astros postseason record became today? They were 10-6 heading into this game. They fell to 10-7. You think that was a tough call? And then the Nationals came in 10-5. Nationals equals 105. And by winning today, they became 11-5 in the 115th World Series. It's just goofy. And by the way, if you were on Patreon today, I already liked the Nationals to win today's game, but I said what will give you definitive evidence that this is going to Game 7, As I said, pay attention to this hockey game today. And I said if the score's 3-3 in the third period, you know the series is going to be evened up at 3-3. This was in the Washington game from Washington, D.C., like the Nationals. I had a good feeling you'd see the score at 3-3 in this game, just like how the Nationals could even it up at 3-3 today. And remember, D.C. hasn't had the World Series since 33. Notice Nationals in the most pure ciphers, 33. Just like Federal is. The last time they had it, 1933. But, yeah, I just had to laugh. I saw the score. I had to tune in. And what was funny is the game was won in overtime 4-3 by Washington. Astros is 43. DC, the letters D's the fourth, letter C's the third. But what was funny is, when I just tuned in, I just said, it's just so predictable, man. 3-3 in the third period. Of course it is. And here's what else was awesome about this. The Capitals, by winning today, this was the 149th game between these two teams. And Washington came in with 75 wins. They got their 76th win. You see how I have this note about Skull and Bones, 149-76? Look at this. Whoops. Skull and Bones, 149-76. And again, all year throughout the MLB season. And the whole Stanley Cup was another Skull and Bones ritual, which ended on George Herbert Walker Bush's birthday, June 12th. But anyway, all year, the MLB teams that are in this World Series have paid tribute to George H.W. Bush and Skull and Bones. So the Washington, D.C. hockey team gets the 76th win in the 149th game. And remember, the Dave Martinez Nationals ritual. It was Martinez's 322nd game, and he was on 149 losses. So, of course, he wasn't going to lose, because Skull and Bones is 149 in Gematria, and they represent themselves through the number 322, right? 322. And, again, that was the whole Geronimo getting the 48th win over Cleveland. Look, just to put it real quick, the Nationals got their 48th home win over Cleveland. Cleveland equals 48 on a 48 date numerology, and it was 223 days from the anniversary of the death of Geronimo, which is February 17th, which is the 48th day of the year. 223 is the 48th prime. The Nationals got their 48th home win September 27th. And I guess I can just show you real quick. Geronimo death date. The story is that Prescott Bush stole Geronimo's skull for the Skull and Bones souvenir shelf. And check it out. The day that the ritual went down on was the Jesuit order's birthday. Of course, the Jesuits and the Scottish Rite got big influence in Washington, D.C. But from February 17th to September 27th, the day it went down, 223 days, 48th prime. Just perfect. Again, Martinez stated 149 losses in that 322nd game, 3-2-2, the reflection of 2-2-3. Understand, this is what government and pro sports are. Scripted, very well planned and orchestrated theater that pays tribute to history season after season. Go back and watch the tape on Verlander's home run that tied up the game 2-2. That was the 79th pitch of the game. 79th pitch. 79's the 22nd prime. He threw a meatball right down the center of the plate, jacked out of the park to make it 2-2. And also, that was in the 5th inning. It made it so that there were 4 runs scored in the 5th inning, so 5-4. The name Verlander equals 54. Baseball's 54. Today's game was 251 days after Verlander's birthday, the 54th prime number. You have no idea until you learn this language just how scripted and perfectly orchestrated it all is. So, I guess real quick, just for review, we can go over the Steve Scalise. Let me see, this pulls up the notes. All right, so just real quick. On October 11th, Donald Trump brought up the World Series, the Little League World Series, and the Steve Scalise shooting while he was talking at this rally in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And I noticed that Lake Charles, LA, like you'd write it on an envelope, equals 45, like Major League, like how he's number 45, it also equals 81. This was going down on the day, leaving 81 days left in the year. And hold on, let me get to the point of what I want to say in the notes here. So again, the Steve Scalise shooting was June 14th, 2017 at 8 with 57 numerology. World Series, Scottish Rite 57. Steve Scalise ended up in the ICU in this fake shooting hoax, this scripted theater on July 5th, 5-7, again paying tribute to World Series numbers. And from the date of the shooting to the start of the World Series was from the shooting June 14, 2017 to the start of this year's World Series on October 22nd, 861 days, which is the 41st triangular number. Scalise equals 41. And notice Skull and Bones in Lake Charles where Trump was talking. Notice they're both equal 41 as well as 202. And then I know Steve Scalise's full name equaled 105 like Nationals. If the Nationals do win the World Series, they'll get their 105th win of the season. And, Verlander, again, he posed with the two Bushes after they won the 113th World Series back when HW was still alive. And in this postseason, Verlander did fall to 14-9 at one point. He's picked up a couple of losses since then. But, and keep in mind, 149 is the 35th prime, like how he wears number 35. This is the Astros' 58th season. Bush equals 58. George W. Bush 58. Freemasonry 58. Rosicrucian 58. Secret Society 58. You want to know what's awesome about this? You see how Verlander was with the Bushes? See W laughing it up there? Guess how many days it is from Bush's birthday to today? This day where Verlander gets punked again, becoming 0-6 in the World Series in Game 6. And who was the big hero in Game 6 for Houston? The guy who wears, or not for Houston, but for the Nationals? Rendon, who wears the number 6 and who's from Houston. But George W. Bush's birthday is July 6th. Look at this. From his birthday to today is 115 days, right? This is the 115th World Series. George W. Bush, again, his birthday is July 6th, just in case you doubt it. George Washington died at age 67. July 6th is the 187th day of the year. George Washington equals 187. Washington, D.C. 187. But 115 days after W's birthday, Verlander gets punked again in the World Series, in the 115th World Series. Tomorrow, Game 7, to George Washington's upcoming birthday, February 22nd, is 115 days. And Verlander also got jacked tonight on his 88th pitch. Shout out to George Washington, if I can type it. George Washington, 88. His 79th pitch got taken out of the yard. 79, the 22nd prime to even it at 2-2. And then Juan Soto, 115, went yard on the 88th pitch of the game. And it's just hilarious just watching it when you know the numbers. Oh, man, it's hilarious. Anyway. You can't script baseball. You can't? Have you ever watched these guys take batting practice? Throw a 75-mile-per-hour hanging curveball over the plate. See what a major league pitcher does to it. Not pitcher, hitter. Hell, see what a lot of high school and college players and beer league softball players do to it. Same results. This right here This is when we first caught on to the tributes being paid to HW, and we caught on to it before the game was played, by the way. If you want to sign up for my Patreon and scroll all the way back to April 20th, 2019, and watch the live stream from that day before the games were played, you'll see that the call of the day, the best pick of the day, was the Rangers to upset the Astros. It was a big payout, and it looked golden because it was synced up with the death of HW. This was on April 20th, Hitler's birthday, which is the 110th day of the year. President equals 110. Adolf Hitler equals 110. Anyway, and think about how the Bush family got rich selling to the Nazis in World War II. I guess it makes sense the more and more you think about it. But I said, look at this. The Rangers will win this game because these results weren't here yet. I said the Rangers will win today and improve to 11-8 and become 9-4 at home. And little did I know that they would score. The final score would be 9-4, which is added to the comedy. But George Herbert Walker Bush equals 118. The Bush family used to run the Rangers. And George H.W. died at age 94. And again, when you write out 94, it equals 147 and 57, like World Series. And H.W. died in Houston. So, a perfect tribute to George H.W. Bush, who's connected to both baseball teams. And from that point on, we just noticed all sorts of rituals throughout the year. And then when the Nationals got the Skull and Bones tribute at the end, I said, uh-oh, Astros and Rangers have been doing it all year. Rangers obviously weren't going to be in the postseason. I said, and now Nationals get a big one with Geronimo? Ooh, man, that very well could be the World Series. And I said right then to my people, I said, right now, you got to put in your future for an Astros and Nationals World Series. Nationals have the worst odds right now in the National League. That should be a good payout. And boy, was it ever. Notice the Astros also fell to 13-7 and 7-7 away. Again, Houston 77, DC 77, Secret Society 77, 137. Washington, D.C. 137. It's the 33rd prime. Next thing you know, the Astros are playing the Washington, D.C. team from the 77th Meridian in the World Series. And, of course, Houston and D.C. connect the Bush family. From the date of that game to the start of the World Series was 185 days. Steve Scalise, Secret Society, both 185. Again, he's part of this riddle as well, being the victim of the fake shooting. And just remember as I tell you these things, just remember your taxpayers pay for these assholes. Your taxpayers pay for these stadiums where these, sellout athletes who all they care about is their ego and their material life and their giant paychecks. That's all they really care about. They don't care about the fans. They'll go out there and throw the game for the fame and the big money. And then someday they'll also get off by the code. And I'm telling you, the satanic cabal that runs all this, the reason they kill their celebrities the way they do, like it's nothing, is because I think that they do know that, they're killing pieces of shit. They're like, yeah, these people that work for us, they're all pieces of shit. And is it really that bad? I think they justify it within their own sick, whatever you want to call it, moral rule book. But, yeah, I mean, the people who we talk about who are dying by the code, these celebrities, and well, when it's their 2-year-old children, it's different, right? But when these celebrities die, I mean, this is why they die. The people who off them, they know that they're offing some scumbags. Politicians, athletes, actors, musicians, all of them. Sellouts to humanity. And again, the whole Boston Bruins thing, they came up short of their 322nd win in the postseason, in the playoffs. They would have won the Stanley Cup, and that game was played June 12th, the day of HW's birthday, the 3-2-2 Skull and Bones member. And remember the David Ortiz shooting that happened right before Game 7? David Ortiz was the MVP in the Boston-St. Louis World Series in 2004. And then he ends up shot in the news, supposedly. Guarantee you it was a hoax. Look at his birthday, November 18th. That's the 322nd day of the year, November 18th, the 322nd day of the year. And, of course, Drake has a song about it because he's part of the recording industry. But, yeah, that was a strange one. When when the Blues beat the Bruins, they got their 57th win against them all time. That's a big championship number. But it was a tough call because it was like, 57 always hits in championships. But, man, this 3-2-2 riddle is something else. And Boston came up one short after the shooting of David Ortiz, born on the 322nd day of the year. So... And in light of the David Ortiz World Series 2004, St. Louis-Boston, just like the Stanley Cup was St. Louis-Boston, let's talk about the umpires again who just died during the time of this World Series. One of which, the latest, Chuck Merriweather, who umpired the 2004 World Series between St. Louis and Boston. Did you guys notice that 2 umpires died during this World Series? One was age 52, the other was age 63. What's 52 plus 63? 115, the 115th World Series. Who does all this? Again, Masonic 115, Killing 115. It's a number with the Jesuits too. But just to go over the deaths of these umpires, Chuck Merriweather, who did the 2004 World Series with St. Louis 115. He dies at 63. Major League is 63. Major League Baseball 63. The name Chuck Merriweather is 235 and 82, like Washington Nationals is 235 and 82. A part of me wonders if Rendon was supposed to hit the ball out of the park at the end of the game to make the score 8-2. He hit it off the top of the wall. Sometimes I wonder if the rituals aren't quite completed as they're supposed to. Rendon would have had 2 home runs on the game. And again, he's number 6. It was Game 6. Verlander got his 6th loss in a World Series. Rendon's from Houston. Talk about an obvious script. And it just goes to show these guys are assigned numbers to wear that are part of their planned and scripted careers. So anyway, Chuck Merriweather had those Nationals numbers. Again, he umped the World Series with St. Louis. His death comes in the time of the 115th World Series. A 52-year-old, a 63-year-old. This man died 118 days after his birthday. Of course, death is 118. This is a typo. It should say homicide is 118. George Herbert Walker Bush is 118. And then in addition to his death, you had the death of Eric Cooper, who died 2 days before the start of the World Series, once the World Series was set. And remember, he died on the day leaving 72 days left in the year. Cooper 72 like Major League Baseball. He died on the 293rd day of the year, which is the 62nd prime. Sacrifice is 62. Eric Cooper 62. Tomorrow, Game 7 leaves 62 days left in the year. The Astros have 61 losses on the season right now. This man was from Iowa, just like the manager of the Astros, A.J. Hinch. By the way, Houston, Texas equals 62. The umpire's full name, Eric Richard Cooper, 105 like Nationals. Again, if the Nationals win the World Series, they will pick up their 105th win of the year. Umpire 82, Washington Nationals 82, Chuck Merriweather 82. The name Eric Cooper is also 107, like Washington Nationals, like Ritual Sacrifice, like how tonight the Astros fell to 10-7 in the postseason, 10 wins, 7 losses. Eric Cooper died 307 days after his birthday, the 63rd prime, Major League 63, Major League Baseball 63. Today's the day leaving 63 days left in the year. Today in the Lakers game, Frank Vogel got his 307th win as a coach. And again, you pay attention every single day, you see that all of the world of sports is scripted this way. And it really is mind-blowing. It's like, how the hell do they plan all this out so perfectly? Caller?
What's up, dude?
What's up, man?
Calling from Houston. Did you see the game?
Yeah, I did.
All right, 7th inning, that runner gets called out at first.
What a joke of a call, man. What a joke.
Yeah, so I wanted to get your feedback on why they call that, because if he was on base, it would have...
That's why.
It would have disrupted...
That's why, because it would have disrupted the riddle.
Right, exactly. That's That's exactly what I thought.
That was supposed to be an out. That was supposed to be an out. The only reason it wasn't an out was because of a bad throw. It should have been an error. I mean, it's just such a bullshit call, and it just makes me sick. They brought on Joe Torre, the old Yankees manager, after the game to say it was the right call. It's like, man, shut the fuck up. It was the right call.
Right, like, we're going to New York, the capital of baseball.
It's just such a joke to just watch just straight up bullshit be explained to you like it's legitimate. It's like, okay, the guy's running right down the baseline, right through the center of the bag.
Right.
Where could there possibly be runner interference here? There's a zero. It's exactly, but it messed up the ritual because they had that 2-run home run planned.
Messed up the ritual.
They had the 2-run home run planned. They couldn't have a 3-run home run in that scenario. They didn't want that.
Exactly. I said, man, if you ever wanted a QED for rigged, there it is.
People are so dumb, though. They'll be like, no, I heard Joe Torre come on and explain that was the right call.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Running right down the baseline, right through the center of the bag. I mean, how could it...
Did you hear the first call? The first call was like running too far inland, too far in. If you run too far infield, I guess you get called on it, or you're not running on the line. They tried to call that first. Like, man, these guys.
It's just a joke, man.
That umpire he has an earpiece in his ear. He has to, and he's getting instructions. He has to have an earpiece in his ear from a box upstairs that says, "Call it out."
Well, it's possible, but I really think when you pay attention to the box scores and stuff, these games are scripted inning by inning. Like, for example, when Strasburg finished the 8th inning with 102 pitches and nobody even tried to hit the ball that inning, just half-ass swings. Today was Strasburg's 102nd day of his age, and Steven equals 102. And so does the word magic, and the signs for the Nationals this year are Nats Magic. So, it's just so... I think the umpires know what the score's supposed to be at each inning break.
That's what it shows, more than anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's pretty mean. I wanted your input on that, but given 62 is some sort of magic number, I'm tending toward the Astros losing and the Nationals picking it up. That's just my gut.
If the Astros lose tomorrow, they'll get their 57th all-time postseason loss. World Series is 57, so is Nationals. And if Max Scherzer wins, he'll be 15-7. Max Scherzer equals 157. And if Greinke loses, he'll get his 130th career loss. Washington's 130.
It's going to be a lot of pissed off Astros fans, I'll tell you that much. All right, man, I'm not going to hold you.
All right, see you.
All right, take care.
Yeah, for anyone who didn't watch the game, probably one of the worst calls in the history of sports was made in tonight's game. And that's what he was just calling in about. They couldn't have that extra home run because then the score wouldn't have been 5-2 after that inning, like how they paid tribute to the death of Eric Cooper at age 52. So, that umpire died on the 20th. So anyway, my lady's mad at me. She was just banging on the wall. That means it's time to get off. But you guys really should sign up for Patreon. Another dominant day of sports. Notice the Penguins became 8-5. Flyers 85. Hold on, let me take one more call. Caller?
Hey, what's up, Zach? It's Victor.
What's up, man?
I just wanted to let you know, thank you for that heads up about that. Well, also the caller as well earlier. I forgot his name, but that Washington Capitals NHL game.
Uh-huh.
I did exactly what you said. I didn't hedge it, Zach. I waited to watch that game. And what you said specifically happened. It tied 3-3 in the third period, went to overtime, and then they won 4-3. So after that happened, I didn't even wind up putting anything on Houston. I didn't hedge my bets at all.
Good,
I just
man.
sat there and watched it.
Good call. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was that hockey tip, Zach. Thank you. That's why I pay attention and I listen to your show every day because of little hints like that. Like, you got to be tuned into the Patreon to be catching little stuff like that.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
So, thank you. Stressful stressful night, but same end result we wanted it. Have a good night, Zach.
All right, man.
I can't
Take
wait
care.
till tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be back. All right, see you. He does good work himself. So that's the nice thing about being on the Patreon. There's good callers. Yeah, I need to get off, but sports is just too scripted. You want to know about all these games? Go see what we said on Patreon today. Another day of domination. So we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Appreciate it, Martin. I see Martin's comment in the chat. So, yeah, I mean, we've just proven way too much to be doubted. You know, we've made way too many very correct and very specific calls. And the next thing that needs to happen is the revolution. You know, I don't want to get the FBI to come to my door again, but I'm not going to stop until I'm standing on the ashes of Washington, D.C., because that whole city needs to go, man. And the other thing that needs to happen right after that is all these sports teams need to be done away with. We paid for these stadiums. Let's kick these fucking overpaid assholes out and say, you know what? Let's have some tryouts and see who wants to be on the baseball team for this city who's actually from the city. Who wants to play on the football team? Who wants to play on the soccer team? Who wants to play on the basketball team? I don't want Damian Lillard in my city, Portland, doing the Hulu commercial, shooting the money all over, and then playing like the biggest fucking loser in the world in the, Western Conference Finals. I'm sick of that shit. Damian Lillard, you can go play in Oakland with your Hulu commercial and throw games. So, Damian Lillard, he makes buckets because they use technology in the NBA to make sure his shot goes in. Go watch our highlight video from last year. Watch Damian Lillard's curveball three-pointer from 37 feet away, Portland 37. And by the way, before that shot was even made, we called it on Patreon that Damian Lillard would likely hit the game winner. Portland would win and not cover the spread, which is exactly what happened. So we'll leave it there, and until next time.